Good afternoon, everyone. It's a lovely, lovely day today. Primarily, of course, with the whole weather outside, but also because we have some very, very great conversations lined up with your tea today. So let me tell you this webinar, which is hosted by ETH with Salesforce India, primarily talking about the future of manufacturing, connected and AI driven. Of course, a very, very strong topic that we see now. And with us I am the moderator for the panel. I am Anjumara Syed, partner with PwC India. Also, I'm the leader for the Salesforce practice at PwC India. Been working in the industry for the last 24 plus years and been very, very closely associated with Salesforce for the last 12 plus years. With that, I would also give a little bit introduction of the speakers who are going to join us. These are actually all veterans who are there on the call. I don't know how we got them all into one of this discussion. So we have Mr. Rohit Gupta, Head Technology Center, ThyssenKrupp Industries India. He has more than 25 plus experience working with different multinationals, executing the global digital strategy, expanding the digital product portfolio, and driving the process efficiency for the portfolio that he leads. Then joining us is Mr. Shashi Tripathi, who's the head IT for HD Hyundai Construction Equipment India. He has been the winner of World CIO 200 Awards and also been attending many events hosted by ETH. We have another very, very strong veteran in the industry, Mr. Anand Deodhar. He's the Group CIO, Head IT for Force Motors. He's an innovative and proficient, results-oriented IT leader, making significant contributions by shaping technology vision, strategy, in re-engineering business processes, guiding organization transformation, and driving cost-effective IT solutions. Then, of course, we have a very, very strong, a very, very good friend of mine, Mr. Vinay Bhatt. He's the RVP Manufacturing Leader, Salesforce India. He's an industry stalwart with over 18 years of experience. He's the RVP at Salesforce India and currently leads the manufacturing and energy business. Previously worked with a lot of software giants like VMware, Sun Microsystems, and Patni Computers. With that, I think we would just go on and get our panelists on the call. Great. I will just allow them to come in here. Good afternoon, Vinay, Shashi, Rohit, and Anand. Hope you can all hear us and it's all good. Great. Perfect. So before we start, we have seen over the last year, manufacturing firms have faced unprecedented disruptions, rapid, daunting change caused by COVID, of course, which resulted in actually accelerated digitization, increased occurrence of cyber attacks with that, and very, very transformed consumer behavior where consumers are asking for personalization. For manufacturers, the pandemic has revealed weaknesses across their end-to-end activities, whether in supply chain, distribution, logistics, planning, and has highlighted the need for greater resilience and agility. Today's challenges are very unlikely any the world has experienced before, and we understand how they are affecting firm strategies, practices, and performance. In PwC's COO Pulse survey, we saw actually a few of the top priority areas of focus over the next 2 years, which included cybersecurity coming in very, very strong, expanding digital sales and marketing, and making supply chains more reliable and diverse. And this maps very, very well to the future of manufacturing that we are talking about with AI coming into the picture. With that backdrop, I just want to extend the thought process to Mr. Anand to give his view on what the board members, he's working with, been in the industry for so long. What are the board members, what areas are the board members looking at when you see the future of manufacturing changing with all the trends coming in?
Good afternoon, Anjum. Audible? Yeah. So, before I start, on a lighter note, first, Shashi, I need a party from you. I was not aware that you are part of the 200 club. Second is Anjum, you don't look that you have a 24 years experience. You look very young. Compliment for both of you.
Let me get the recorded bit for this.
So yeah, the main thing which every board member is looks is for productivity, efficiency, and to reduce cost. So there are multiple parameters which board member will be looking to reduce, means to improve all these things. I'll start giving by giving some examples. So first is automation. So as you know that it's very difficult right now to first is recruit and retain a manpower. So most of the organization will now in future will try to go for automation. So wherever there is a repetitive task involved, for example, whether it is HR or any global delivery center where there is salary processing or any other things, automation is the way ahead. For example, there will be robots, cobots, bots which will be in use to ensure that whatever repetitive tasks are there will be done by this bots. I'll give a typical examples. For example, a person who is creating the reports on daily presentation or reports on daily basis using SAP or any other things of Salesforce or any other system. What things what we have done is that we have created bots for that. So these bots will be running this program in the background, taking out the download and ensuring that the output comes in the repetitive in the particular format before time without any issues, without any mistakes and any other things. And the this repetitive jobs have now the people now are now more focused on value adding instead of doing a repetitive task. Second thing is wherever there are critical operations, repetitive operations, automation such as pick to light or automatic guided vehicles have been used to ensure that there is less of manual intervention. Second thing for automation, which is recently deployed, as we all know that everybody is now going for a solar power. So most of the factories have got rooftop solar power plants. So cleaning that is also a big thing. So what automation is done is that they are using now drones to clean this solar panels. So that is a good technology, automation or robotics example which you can say. Next is, I think we all know that Internet of Things. So leveraging IoT devices and its connectivity to create smart manufacturing environment for real-time manufacturing, monitoring and data-driven decision making is the way ahead now. I'll give some examples on this front. As you know, this water, air, and electricity are three key areas where we can cut costs. And during idle condition, all three, the consumption should be zero. But it's very difficult to monitor all this. But with IoT coming in, what we have done is that we have got a centralized sensors and which are deployed on these lines, and these are getting monitored live on our dashboards. So this is one example. Second example for IoT will be die life tracking. As we all know, for any automotive industry, there are dies which are used to manufacture panels. So these dies have got certain life depending on number of strokes and how many goods are inverted. So with IoT coming in place, we can monitor this strokes, number of strokes and the GR, and give a heads up that you need to now replace a die. Similarly, for die maintenance, what we have done is that we have monitored the die maintenance process at vendor's end. So what typically vendors try to do is that they try to bypass this maintenance process. Means after every certain number of strokes, the die is supposed to go for maintenance activity. In case it doesn't go, then it will create a quality issues. So what we have done is that we have remotely monitored the number of strokes and we are given alert to vendor that you need to now start doing a maintenance of this on a weekly basis. And there are certain other examples of IoT wherein we can capture aluminum content and other things in the live process. Other important thing is integrating AI to optimize manufacturing operations and quality control. So in daily HR operation, daily presentation, and live machine data capturing, AI will be used and it's getting used. The new buzzword which you all know is sustainable manufacturing. So adapting to eco-friendly practices and technologies to reduce environmental impact and enhance resource efficiency and meet sustainable goals. So sustainable manufacturing is the way ahead now. Few examples to share on this will be what we have done is that we are, especially in IT, I'm telling you. So we are trying to procure recyclable products. So any laptops which is whose plastic is getting recycled, means for example ocean plastic is getting used, we are trying to procure those products so that it is environment friendly. Second is what we have done, we all know that we are producing a vehicle and every vehicle has got a part which is coming from a vendor. We know the location of the vendors. Since we know the volume of the part, what we have done is that using this combination or concatenation of part, vendor, number of trips, the vehicle which is supplying, we know the vehicle emission factor and the number of trips he is using. We've found out who are the top 100 polluting vendors on vehicle emission. Basis that we are trying to optimize the number of trips, the type of vehicle which is coming into operation, and with this, I think 60 to 70% of the emission we are cut down on this factor. Last example I can give for sustainable manufacturing is paperless office is a good example. So I would say wherever there is a process, IT comes into play and digitize that process. Next thing I think is digital twin. So utilizing the digital twin technology to create replicas of physical assets and processes and system for simulation and analysis and optimization. So good example I would say is that you all know that initially for any new mobile to come into place, the life cycle, I would not say life cycle, it will be the time to get production is around 3 to 4 years. But with now digital twin coming into place, I think this time has come down to max 6 months. We can get every new model after every 6 months. At this rate, we are coming in. Next, I would say is enhancing the supply chain optimization, because as you know, 70% of the cost is attributed to our supply chain, not supply chain, procurement for any industry. So optimizing the supply chain, its visibility, its resilience, and the agility to digitalization is another task which every board member will look into. Some of the example for this is having a rough cut capacity planning. Rough cut capacity planning basically refers to having the mapping of vendor capacity, its block capacity, what my manufacturing constraint is, what should be my idle production should be, and what my idle market mix should be. So depending on my contribution of the vehicle, the market share which I intend to capture, and combining all this factor into place, we can have a good system in place which will also tell me what I am supposed to produce and how I will be producing for the given plan. Next, for supply chain example or view will be having a window timing. As we all know that turnaround time of every vehicle matters a lot because the cost is involved in that. So in case we can have a window timing controlled, we can reduce the turnaround times. For example, with this having a window timing in place for every vendor, we have cut down the time to roughly 75% of the turnaround time. And lastly, which every board member, whether in future, past or present, the main thing will be having a cyber security. So strengthening the cyber security measure to protect our sensitive data, intellectual property, and critical infrastructure will be obviously main aim. So we can have a EDR, XDR, or MDR in place, create awareness, and through flyers or through trainings, and using right technology in place. So I think these are the main things which can affect the decision of board members.
No, very, very, very comprehensive, and you've covered actually all the plethora of the things. I just want to hear from Rohit sir if he had a few more inputs to what he has been in the industry for so long. Just your inputs on what you see the board members are talking about, just as an extension to what Anand has talked about. Anything that you believe is happening. I know this has been a discussion now in the manufacturing industry. There's a lot of discussions around many areas, and with connected and AI driven coming into fore. What is that, sir, you see?
So, thank you, Anjum. And means, as you said, Anand has covered nearly all aspects, but from automotive perspective, but I mean, we are industrial machines joint, building plants, building submarines, and also on the same side, having e-commerce for a circular economy. So that said, I will only try to add meaningfully to the comments made by Anand, and then hopefully the audience finds it meaningful. I mean, I think to move forward, I always say we have to look back, and if you look back at how the change has been, not just a technology journey. Means the pandemic came, trusted industry manufacturing industry particularly, which is considered a laggard from a perspective that they embrace technology after everybody has done everything. Is that's so that's not my perspective. I say a lot of innovation goes in manufacturing, and also I think with these new business models, non-traditional companies coming into business areas that were traditionally owned. The so to say that the businesses were secured. But now there is a new playground where non-traditional companies are coming in and they can compete, give you a run for your money in the sense that they can check away pies of your business and build intimacy with your customers. So on that, I would say means very important for board members and uh, in our case, we are doing that to have customer-centric innovations. To elaborate a little bit, what it means innovation in itself will remain the key to survive in the future, no doubt about it. I think it's on, as per the latest Gartner study, on 63% of the executive board said innovation is on their mind to survive in the next century. But that said, when I say customer focused innovation, let me take example. We build cement plants. Now, if you have a customer who's coming for Siemens, the earlier trick would have been that this guy will go and explain the product characteristics, and try to make a sale. But no, now this has changed. Now, when I say customer-centric innovation, a customer would want, just give me a sec, a customer would want to be able to visualize how in an existing plant, because not all the time the plants have a life of 50 to 100 years minimum. Yeah, minimum. That's what I mean. So how in that plant we are going to install either a new boiler or a new conveyor, they would want the ability to visualize it. So this is now demanding technology to be integrated into the system to give the ability to customer to be able to visualize how this new system can be put in their plan before even realizing the sale. So this is what I mean by customer-centric innovation. I think productivity, efficiency, sustainability, Anand covered, so I'll not comment too much on that. Um, I think supply chain remains an area, means what is happening in Red Sea, right, which disrupted the supply chain. So the unpredictability associated with supply chains and the thinning of supply chains in terms of availability of materials will drive either micro factories, will trigger 3D manufacturing. So, in a nutshell, I would say investing uh, at the technical depth and the digital debt that exists, and not by choice, means the industries are running. So there are old machines, there are newer systems, there are newer technologies. But manufacturers are not in the business of just selling technology. They're in the business of selling products, and we can never forget that. That said, I think these noises in the supply chain and how we can use um, data analytics, the power of technology to be more resilient would be an area where board members certainly would put their impetus on. And last one is always the people. I always say it's about the people. So you can have the best technology in the world, still you need a person to drive. And to take an example means, and we are a 200-year-old company for those who don't know this, and we have several experts on the floor, on the shop floor, who can repair the machine even without looking through the manual. But it is not prudent to assume that every shop floor worker would be tech savvy. So now, if I invest in a technology and put a very intelligent dashboard because I've made all my machines sensorized and collected all the data that everybody is talking about and put a very nice dashboard there. But if this guy doesn't know how to make use of the dashboard, then it will lead to a technology failure, even though as a company we might have. So I think these are areas in terms of development of people, according to me, that that the impetus should be.
No, thanks so much, Rohit sir. And I liked a few of the keywords that you mentioned. One was the customer centric innovation that is coming in play. A strong focus on people with the tech, because in manufacturing world we have seen that being a very primary factor. You cannot leave the people part aside. And then supply chain. I think this is one of the area that has been one of the most discussed area, because with supply chain there is also this dynamic pricing that hits the manufacturing industry much more than anybody else in that sense. With that, let me go on to because we are talking customer, because we are talking centric innovation, question to Mr. Shashi. There is definitely a demand of customer. We have a growing sales demand in the customer area. How do you see the fourth industrial revolution driving this? And where do you see the digital manufacturing or the digital factories, which we now very fondly call, helping drive the sales in this sense?
Yeah, so today manufacturing is increasing powered by information. The vast amount of data come from across the business and around the world. In real time, around the clock, now the AI is the heart for all the fourth industrial revolution, allowing manufacturer to not only gather all the data, but use it to the analyze, predict, understand, and report. Industrial 4.0 is not characterized by a single technology. It is defined by the seamless integration of number of systems, tools, and innovations. So now we come about the innovations. Everyone is now talking about the every data should come on a single click. So innovation is required in the sales point of view. So I'm giving example in my company. So in our company, we have all the lines we have connected with all the IoT devices directly with the PLC to the controller to the, and creating a dashboard. And we have organized all the asking the salesperson to visit the customer to the factory. Once they see the factory, now these much of innovation they had doing in their factory to produce a good number of machines with the quality product. So now the sales is increasing day by day.
Go ahead, Shashi.
Okay. So nowadays the people are continuously produce new information and generate new knowledge in the meaning of information, the possibility of billions of people connected by the mobile devices. And they know they want every data should come on a single click on their mobile. So once the integration between all the internet or IoT device easily available on their mobile devices, so they can know what the productivity is going on with their machines, what the productivity in how much time that their machines are laying ideal, etc.
Great. Thank you so much, Shashi, about that. I think definitely we are seeing a lot on digital factories and the changes that are happening in the manufacturing world because of digital factories and AI coming together. With that, how are we now delivering with digital, with customer innovation, with AI, what we call intelligent customer experience. How are we delivering this intelligent customer experience in B2B or B2B2C, which we normally see in the manufacturing world? How do you see, Vinay, that happening in terms of delivering intelligent customer or service, if we call that?
Sure, Anjum. Thanks so much for the question. And I think part of that has actually got answered, by the panelists when they answered. But let me take that question. And in the question itself, there was so much of intelligence, right? Delivering intelligent customer experience with artificial intelligence. So there's so much of intelligence everywhere. But I think the point is, when you're talking about customer experience, who's the customer? Right? Because in manufacturing, every element of your supply chain, there is a different customer. When you're manufacturing the supply chain, obviously your suppliers, they're very, very important so that they deliver your parts and your components to build your manufacturing. When you're taking your manufacturing products into the market, obviously the end customer, he's obviously the most important, but obviously channels, right? Who's also serving your customer and through which you're going. So at every point of time, there are different set of customers that you're actually talking to. And when you talk about customer experience, the point I want to probably make is how can you make all of these stakeholders, act very seamlessly, interact with the business very seamlessly, because that's where then they will come back for the business again and again, right? They will come and interact with the system. They'll come and interact with their organization again and again. So how do you do that is obviously by building agility into your business processes and having platforms to help you build that agility. I think a lot of it been said already on the panel, but I think the way Salesforce looks at it is, and Salesforce is actually ahead in the race because we envisage this much ahead of anybody else. So what Salesforce has done is all of these processes, right? The customer related processes. And when I say customer, different customers, right? It could be an influencer, it could be a channel. So if it's channel, there could be a DMS, primary sales, secondary sales, it could be an influencer. So influencer management, customer, definitely CRM. We are leader in CRM, our ticker is CRM. Then you give customer service, so service related issues. So all of those elements, right? What Salesforce has done is we are hosting on a single platform. Right, and that what that does to our customers is obviously like Sashi spoke about, and so did Rohit, is about the data. So all this data, once it comes into a single place, like they say, data is the new oil, right? You can turn out magic from the data because all that customer experience that we're talking about, that customer experience will come because of this data, and obviously, everybody knows about Gen AI. So we know about natural language processing, NLP. You make those prompts and then it goes back to your LLM models, and LLM models learns on the data. So how the database that you can build, the more richer it is, the more smarter is your LLM, which means the prediction that your AI model is going to do on basis of the data is going to be so much accurate. So what Salesforce does is gets all of this under the single platform and then runs a single layer of AI on top of it. We call it Einstein Copilot. And by the way, we've been doing predictions or doing AI 7 years now. We already had something called as predictive analysis. We used to predict if a customer is going to come back, if a customer is going to do any repeat business with you. But what's interesting is, after this whole advent of ChatGPT, Gen AI is becoming very, very popular. So now we are using Gen AI to be able to generate a lot of content, right? And I think one of the questions that was raised was the skills that we have. So how do you make your guys productive from day zero? So, this Gen AI can actually help you do that, right? So if your service agent is writing an email to your customer and he's just maybe like a 10-day-old in the system, so he doesn't have to know a lot about the product. The Gen AI is going to create a lot of this content for him to be able to talk to his customer. The sales guy, right? When he's reaching out to your customer, now, because all of this data is already there in the system understands the context of that customer, the life cycle value of that customer. So when the system generates an email for that customer, the email has all that context in terms of sensitivity. If the customer is not a good customer, how sensitive the customer situation is, and depending on that, it creates content. So using this all data put together and then putting this layer of artificial intelligence, right? I think we've been able to give a lot of good intelligent customer experiences, be it influencer management. And then we do all this, right? Asset 360, we do influencers 360, we do distributor 360, we do retailer 360, and obviously not last, but customer 360. So all of this 360 views we can get into for all our customers. And then, using that data, they can really give very intelligent customer experiences to whoever those customer stakeholders are.
So is it fair to say, Vinay, that Salesforce brings in the complete enterprise related data, or can bring in the enterprise related data onto a single platform?
Yes. So what we can do is, all your front-ending applications, right? Salesforce can bring all of that into a common platform. And that's been a forte. I think we've been known for CRM. Like I said, our ticker is also CRM. But we are much beyond that. We are actually a system of engagement. So every mobile application, like Sashi said, right? Everybody is used to a mobile application and they need data on a tip of their finger. So we can make all of that happen. So, sometimes the data may not be in CRM. Sometimes the data may not be in Salesforce, but we can still pull the data from SAP or from their APS or from any of the other tools that they may be running in their systems. We can pull it and we can make it accessible, and obviously in the most secured manner. Obviously, we don't allow the data to be seen to somebody who is not supposed to see it, but all in a trusted, secure manner. We can make the data accessible.
Great, thank you so much. And since we are on the subject of AI, want to little bit go ahead on to how are we using AI? And this is a question to Anand. How are we seeing AI being used to fast track the manufacturing operations? That could be optimizing the quality control or the predictive maintenance. And we covered a little bit in the main topic, but going a little deeper into it. How is AI being used to track these from predictive maintenance to transforming material handling, tooling, streamlining the critical processes in the manufacturing space? How do you see that, Anand, happening in using AI?
Jim, I can say that AI can significantly expedite manufacturing operations by streamlining critical processes such as quality control and predictive maintenance. I'll not go too much into material handling and tool optimization. Tool optimization I can cover a little bit, but material handling I not handle. So coming to quality control optimization, I think AI algorithms can analyze real-time production data to identify defects and anomalies and quality issues early in the manufacturing process. This enables a proactive quality control. So I can give an example of how we have done this. So as you know, earlier, quality control was done using, means there were quality inspectors after every line or stage. After every stage, they used to just inspect that, and depending on the person's expertise, means A, B, or C, whoever is coming in that particular shift or that particular month or whatever it is, he used to inspect the part. So depending on his skill and quality and his ability, the part quality used to get defined. Okay. So with AI coming into place, what we have done is that we have used the camera-based technology. We have captured the AI, means captured the good part AI image and build the algorithm against that. And against that, for every part which is now flowing is now getting captured through a camera. The analysis is done through AI and ML with that. And we are detecting whether the part is good part or a bad part. And then it is not any subject to any person who is inspecting the quality is perfect. There is no human dependent factor in this. Another example which I can share is of predictive maintenance, which we have done. So AI for predictive maintenance use machine learning basically models to analyze equipment data and predict potential failures before they occur, right? areas where we have implemented is capturing the temperature data, the vibration data of machines. So every machine which is running in a good condition, we have got idle temperature in certain range and idle vibrations. In case we put sensors over there and capture that data and use the AI for that, we can identify whether the machine is going out of that particular normal range or not. In case the machine is going out of that normal range for a certain period of time, we can immediately take down that machine for maintenance and prevent what we say a production loss. So these are the 3-4 examples I think which can be used for quality control and predictive maintenance.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Anand. Following moving a little bit ahead from AI to one of the topic that we keep hearing in manufacturing is Industry 4.0. And Rohit, so this is a question for you. So organizations in India are adopting Industry 4.0 very rapid speed. They are modernizing the existing plants to make them more efficient, setting up the new plants using digital technology. Businesses are all focusing on improving the efficiency by reducing the downtime, minimizing maintenance cost, and all of the parameters that we like to call the golden batch using digital twins and automation of the processes, visibility at the shop floor, efficient scheduling, and so on and so forth that we see in these areas. How do you see these trends in the future and the adoption of 4.0 in the industry? We keep hearing this, but how do you see it being adopted in the industry?
Great question, Anand. Let me. So I think industry in India is so vast that everybody is at a different stage of adoption. Means I think, as I said in my previous reply, forces of change push businesses to move in this direction, whether propelled by pandemic or supply chain disruptions or geopolitical. Or now I should add even regulation, right? Means if you look at Europe, they have this European Green Deal and CEAT coming in if you want to export to Europe. So several factors impact. But that said, I think at the core of a business is the transformation part. And I will not say means digital transformation has been a buzzword in the past, but I don't think it's a buzzword any longer. And when I say business transformation, it means digital transformation and newer age business models to sell your product in the market. So taking in mind your internal processes, external processes, and including the third bit, which is partner, because collaboration will be the key in the future. So that's it. Technology-wise means, of course, as a country, we are at different stages and bridging the gap to Industry 4.0 technologies were mentioned by Anand in the beginning, means whether it's AI, power of analytics, and I think till now I didn't hear the word cloud, so I will add it because cloud I think will play a role. But I think it will segue a little bit into Industry 5.0 as well, as companies are catching up to implement this. And why I say this is, means, and let me think of a good example. So, for example, in my view, digital twins, they are very key. And your last question to Anand about artificial intelligence and playing alone in production process, twins are a great example. And a real true twin could increase, could account for customer-centric innovation, could increase the customer trust and confidence on you. At the same time, save cost, money, improve performance, reduce downtime, etc., etc. So now, if you think about it, still from a training perspective, one aspect is the human element, and this is me bridging Industry 4.0 to 5.0 because 5.0 talks about the human aspect and the environment aspect. Yeah, I'm not an expert on 5.0, but these are two things I fully understand. And at the moment, the twins we are making, we don't account for the human aspect. But what the future is saying, there'll be a human aspect. That the person who's operating the machine or the person who has to take some action basis the twin. Will whether he's fatigued or not, this has to be also modeled. Of course, this opens up a different discussion on whether you can model your worker as a virtual person in that twin due to privacy laws and stuff like that, right? This is one thing. I think hyper connectivity. So when I say hyper connectivity, it's not just sensorization of machines, mm, having edge to manage the data stream. Hyperconnectivity, I'm covering everything. So because when you talk about manufacturing, it's about growth, it's about increasing profits, performance, efficiency, right? In the with the goal of serving the customer with a product. So when I say hyper-connected systems, I really include your social media, your news, what your competition is doing. All that needs to be connected somehow to really understand what more could be got from the value chain, how it is impacting my production process. Do I need to adjust my production pipelines for? And I think this really, as we look into the future, is a point that everybody in some form will focus on. Um, AI and humans, I think, again, referring to Anand and Shashi and even Vinay, I think talked about it, that the, the cobots or the AI and people connection, it will play a very important role. And from the perspective, according to me, that maybe in the future, technology will do all the jobs. Still, the trusted interface will be the human. So how do you combine that into a system where humans' oversight is built in, but in an agile way with agility? So means reducing errors, increasing efficiency, reducing downtime are great words, but really when you think at the system level, this would require we look at not just systems, technology. It's a combination of systems, technology, people, and the partners who are also important part of your value chain. According to me, um, yeah, I'll stop here. I'll let others reflect on
No,
that.
but I have a follow-up on this, Rohit sir, because you mentioned even the partner ecosystem at the start of it, and 2 points that you mentioned. So one is the partner ecosystem, which you're mentioning, and I think it would be good to hear more about it, that how to utilize the partner ecosystem, right? And the second point that you had mentioned is the smaller companies coming in and driving the innovation and coming into the ecosystem as well. Is will it be a game of complementing or taking them along, or would it be a game of overpowering them and going forward? Just and I know this is just a question based on a discussion. Feel free to answer or not.
No, no. So I think two parts of your question. One part is the smaller companies disrupting the playground as it is, and does it make sense to take them along or not? Means I think two parts from a partnership perspective. So a slightly complex question. Let me choose my words. Means I think certainly everybody who's capable has a right to survive in this market. The market is big enough, right? So that said, big or small, with technology acting as a force of change, the big or small is no longer a big parameter in the equation. It's the speed, the ability to understand customer requirements, and with that perspective, I would say as a company. One aspect should be also when you are scanning technology, you don't need to create everything as an expert. It would make sense to go together with them. Either means you can use any form, you integrate them, you take them over, you partnership with them, you collaborate with them, go with them. I think there are futuristic problems where it would even require competing forces to collaborate. Means I don't know, it was one of the big four who said co-optation, right? So it was a collaboration and competition, and I think that is important. Means especially if you think about now all this hydrogen economy. We remember from my General Motors days, and I'm talking now nearly 20 years back, 2 years back, it was still a problem how to have a hydrogen distribution ecosystem. And 2 decades have gone, and we are still talking about the same problem. Possibly, then it didn't make sense, but now it definitely makes sense. For example, that competing forces combine their energies to find a solution so that we have a better, cleaner world. I, I don't know if that answered your question.
No, I wanted an opinion, and I know I put you in the spot for this, but fantastic point, because this we keep, I've been working with the manufacturing companies for the last, I think 20 years, and this is a discussion that we keep having in one sort of the way to other. My other important or very likely, the one that I like sector is in manufacturing is also auto and automakers, and therefore the next question is to Shashi. So as automakers and their suppliers are now in the new year, we are still coping with inflation, interest rates. There is a specter of a lot of issues happening in the supply chain. The conditions, if they persist, it will have a pressure on the profit margins, the revenue growth. At the same time, as an industry, we are pressing on new engineering models, new business models to support a transition to connected or autonomous technologies, especially EVs that we are seeing, reimagining the customer experience in the future of mobility. What is how do you see the future of mobility driving in the next few years based on your experience, Shashi?
So in my point of view, the mobility aim to be accessible, then green, integrated with all the tech enabled, smart enough, and it will be fulfill all the customer demand as for their day and day activity. It's also follow the legacy industries to incorporate with all the new changes.
Okay, but you do see mobility playing a very important role, and how, in that sense, will regulation play a role in that idea from an auto point of view?
So every data, so when all the data is available, so on the basis of the data, my R&D or any R&D team analyze the data, the voice of the customer, they predict what is the customer demand, how they are looking for the quality, how the new machines they are looking for, what the features are they are looking for. So on the basis of they create a model, they test the model, and they provide in the market for the better profitability and what is the looking in the market. Whosoever is asking the product, so R&D team need to create, develop, and test and produce in the market so that the company will also grow as per the customer demand grow.
Well, thank you so much, Shashi, on that. Vinay, a question for you. We have heard all the veterans talking about from an industry perspective, from a sector perspective. What is that you have seen, especially in terms of highlighting this data-driven analytics approach, driving the future of manufacturing, specific use case or use cases, but real-life scenarios that you could talk about that you have seen?
Yeah, Jim, I think great question. I think I touched upon it, but maybe, let me elaborate a little more about this, right? I think asset 360, like I think Rohit spoke about. So all the data that the IoT sensors are collecting. So how do you do preventive measures? How do you do proactive measures, proactive support and proactive service? Now, it doesn't just stop there, right? I think, we are Salesforce. So we talk about increasing your revenue. So how can you servitize that, right? So how can you actually make your service as a profit organization and give that asset to your customer as a service, as a subscription? And we are seeing a lot of our customers doing that. The heavy machinery, heavy industry, machinery companies, organizations, they are going into that direction because they see that as a new revenue stream. And it also gives them the customer delight test, because customer doesn't want to own the asset. He wants the service, right? So he wants somebody to look at his asset at continuous time and tell him how, and he wants the uptime, because there is so much of capex in those machinery. So if the machinery is down for even a second or even a minute, it is a production loss for them. So how do you save cost by so that the machine doesn't go down at the same time? How does he get that service and the uptime at all point of time? The second thing is talking about data and AI is about how do you really get these influencers and channel, right, who are also very critical element of your success to drive your revenue with your customers. So how do you understand that behavior that they have? And like Sashi mentioned about mobile applications. So because most of them, they will be accessing mobile applications and they will need the customer data, or they will need data on their fingertips. So when they are going in front of the customers for any field visits, or if they're going in front of customers for any of the interactions, so how do you do that customer 360 and your guy, when he's sitting in front of customer, is able to have a meaningful conversation, right? And even he could be like a year old, he could be 6 month old, maybe a week old. So how do you really shorten his training time, his learning curve, so that when he's in front of his customers, he's productive enough? Those are some of the things. And I think, how do you really drive rebate management, loyalty management also? So, rebate and loyalty has actually reached out to a different level now, because we are seeing, some of the, big industrial units actually doing something like a marketplace, right? So we are seeing that a lot of manufacturing companies setting up marketplaces for people to come and collaborate, right? Not only just themselves, because they understand that for them to survive in that industry, they need an ecosystem to thrive around it. So how do you get the whole ecosystem onto a common platform? Do scheme management, do rebate management, do loyalty management, and all of this can happen only because of the data that is available. And then you run those AI models on top of the data, which gives you the most effective models, or the most effective programs, or the most effective rebates or systems that you can put on top of it. So, these are some of the very, relevant and use cases that we are seeing. But again, I think there was one comment that was made in the beginning of the conversation saying manufacturing is laggard. I don't think they're laggard. They probably started a little slow, but they're moving forward in a very, very fast manner. I think today, if you look at the way manufacturing is transforming, it is at the breakneck speed. Manufacturing is transforming at a very, very fast speed.
I completely agree with that, Vinay. Earlier when I used to have discussions with especially in this sector, it used to be okay. What are we trying to do? And then there was a lot of push and pull to get it through. Now, I think it is more about innovation coming from this sector, and it has been a magnificent change actually in that sense. And they are one who are actually leading in a lot of areas. We have a lot of questions from the viewers, but we will take a few because we are blocked on time. So one question, and up for the panel, please pick up whoever want to answer. We have a vast amount of data in supply chain generated through ERP, CRM systems, and there are dashboards and reports. How and where to use AI? And is there, because there is a customer sensitivity, is it advisable to send AI generated data? So there is a customer information data privacy part of it, and also how and where to use this AI with the vast amount of data. Anybody who wants to take up, please.
So Anjum, if you want, I can take it up and maybe take 2 minutes, not more than this. So I spoke about AI and the way Salesforce does it, right? And if you look at the Salesforce values, trust is a number one value. So when we really use AI, right, I think there are two things which we are very, very mindful about. One is we don't send the data to any public LLMs, any public models. So the data never goes out for whatsoever. And the second thing, AI, or rather generative AI, is very, very prone to hallucinations, right? So how do you, when the response comes from those LLM models, how do you measure the toxicity? So that the responses that you're actually getting are production ready, are enterprise ready. You can send it to your customer so that your customer doesn't feel offense. So we really take care of all of these in our AI models. One is the trust. So none of your customer data actually leaves your application. It stays there. And that is the beauty of the way Salesforce has implemented AI. And obviously, when you get back those responses from those LLM models, we check for toxicity before it goes in front of your customers.
Thanks.
I wanted to add.
Yes, please, Mr.
Whenever we're talking about data, we need to remember 5 V's of data. One is at what velocity the data is coming. Second is the volume of data, how much I'm capturing. The variety of data, from what all sources I'm getting this data, how do I analyze this data. Next is the veracity of data. That is whether I can rely on this data or I don't, or just if I analyze the data which is not what we can, which we are not, is not reliable, the output which I'm getting will be fictitious or wrong output, right? And finally, what we need to also know is what is the value of the data on which we are working on this.
That is such a beautiful way of putting it. I think I'm going to remember this part of it. The second question that I think we can pick up before we close is how can the company use AI in supply chain for on-time deliveries? I can give a very quick example, but I'll leave it to the panels to talk it. I have seen, and I've been involved in one of this, where it is about accurate planning systems which are created on how do we take care of the production planning using the data and the AI to drive for not just delivery, but also how do we do the production planning so that we have a supply chain map and then the on-time deliveries. Of course, the data has to come in from all of the systems that we are talking about, but it also matters of what you are taking, why you are taking, and where you are taking it to make what decisions. So that is one, but I'll let our panelists, if anybody wants to pick this up, please, that how do we use AI in supply chain for on-time deliveries?
I
Can I
would
answer
add
this question?
to that. I think
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry. Okay. So I think means AI and supply chain. Means AI is about what in supply chain? In supply chain, what do we need? We need to know what material we need is coming to us on time. With the plethora of data, going back to the last question, the amount of data and the compute power that we have available right, we can train machine learning models which can analyze patterns which are not visible to humans. At ThyssenKrupp, we have not one but several AI agents at work. To give you an example, let's say there is a automotive, because I looked at Anand and he was trying to see. So now an automotive plant, so in an automotive plant, there are high running parts and there are low running parts. Low running parts are customizations or upgrades, the top end models have. Today, with the amount of data based on consumption pattern, connecting it to the order history of a particular region, of a particular city, it is possible to build a model that can tell the plant to a high degree of certainty that on a given day, whether they would need some low runner parts or not. And thus, lean manufacturing, which is an age-old principle in automotive, gets fortified, right? So this is one example. I just thought, because we do this, we have a materials handling division, big one, material systems, and we do these kind of stuff. But yeah, back to you, Anju.
No, this is wonderful, and since we have just 1 minute, I think we will not take up more questions just to be on time. But thank you so much to all the panelists on the call for such an engaging discussion. I know some of the questions were bouncers to you, and it were on the spot, just telling you and asking you. But I have learned through it. I think it is. When I always say this, this is a perspective sharing, and this always helps when we are sharing a point of view or sharing a perspective. It was wonderful to know how AI and how connected driven world we will be going into. We saw a future of manufacturing is going to see the things changing. Of course, there are a lot of things that we know which we are bringing in into the world that we are in. But thank you all for the time on this call. It was wonderful connecting and talking to each one of you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, same for us. Bye bye.
Thanks, Anjum.
Thank you.
We are meeting you all, panel members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining.